All right. So this is week 3, math 8, and we are going to do quizzes 1 and 2 of getting ready for linear functions. I accidentally recorded my first video of the actual section of getting ready for linear functions. So just make sure that you know that this content is stuff that you should know. And then, from 7th grade and 6th grade. If you feel like, oh, yeah, I do know it, this is too easy, then go to the Getting Ready for Algebra 1 class, and that will be things you should have learned from Math 8 about the same subject. Although some of the things you do in Math 8, you will not do in Algebra 1, you'll do in geometry. But this is an Algebra 1 thing. Okay, so let's get started with quiz 1. Cars A, B, and C are traveling at constant speeds. Select the car that travels the fastest. All right, so these are 3 different representations that we can get the car's speed from. The first one is 50. That was easy. The next one, they give us an equation. When they give us the equation, the speed is the number that is multiplied by the hours. So we know, or you should know, that there's a simple formula: distance equals rate times time. And that's what this is. Distance equals rate times time. So the rate is 55. And this one, if they give us the distance and they give us the time, we can use D equals RT. If we rearrange that, it would be R equals D over T. So if you divide 135 by 3, what would that be? Let's see, 135 divided by 3 is 45. So car C is only traveling 45. What car is traveling the fastest? Car B at 55 miles an hour. The graph shows a proportional relationship between y and x. This is 7th grade, right? The constant of proportionality, y over x, you should remember that. So we just picked the point there. What's the y value? Looks like 45. And the x value is 1. Let's double check that is 45. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there's 5 tick marks, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, no. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Aha. So I'm noticing there's 5 tick marks. The 5th one is 50. They're counting by tens. So this is 40 over 1, or just 40. Which table has a constant of proportionality of 3/4? So that we got to do the y over x. And right away, I'm looking at this first one. And if I put y over x, that's 6/8. And what does that reduce to? 3/4 if you divide both of those numbers by 2. Yeah. There we go. Try to trick me with that second table there. Which equation has a constant of proportionality of 1/2? So again, this when it's an equation, we're looking for the coefficient of variable, the independent variable. And the one that has 1/2 is not 2, not 4, 3, 6. If you divide both those numbers by 3, you'd get 1/2. All right. We can calculate E, the amount of euros, that has the same value as D, US dollars, given the equation E, 17 over 20 D. How many euros have the same values as $1? Okay, so when you're thinking about it algebraically, you say it like this. In this first given information, D equals 1. So that means we write this equation, but instead of writing D, we are going to substitute 1. And 17/20 times 1 is 17/20. Oh my. So that would be the answer. No, it says simplified. Well, 17 is prime, so it's simplified. And how many US dollars would have the same value as 1 euro? So that means that E equals 1. So 1 equals 17/20 D. And whenever we want to solve for a variable that is being multiplied by a fraction, the easiest way is to multiply both sides by that fraction's reciprocal, which would be 20 over 17. And that reduces it to 1. You just have to do that on the other side. So then we end up with D equals 20 over 17. And so let's put that in there. All right. Right, you do this one, not doing that one. And let's see if we can figure out that one. Oh, doesn't count, doesn't count. All right. Let's move on to quiz 2. Jack popped some popcorn, but 3 of the 150 kernels did not pop. That's pretty good. Determine whether or not each popcorn snack below has the same ratio of unpopped to the total kernels as Jack's popcorn. Well, all right. So the ratio is unpopped to total. So Jack's unpopped is 3 to 153. You notice what I did there? Oh my. 3 of the 150. Wait. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I thought it had said 3 kernels did not pop, 150 did pop. But it doesn't say that. It says 3 of the total. So there you go. So this is easier than what I was thinking. 2 unpopped out of 75. So that's 275. 4 out of 200. 1 out of 50. So we want to reduce these. And if we divide both of these numbers by 3, 3 is 150 divided by 3 is 50. So Jack's ratio simplifies to 150, which is also right there. 4 to 200, we could divide both those numbers by 4. And actually, that would reduce to 150 as well. 2 out of 75, that is simplified and different. So when you have ratios, you can simplify them. And there you go. A tropical punch recipe calls for 300 milliliters of sugar for every 2 flavor packages. There's a ratio right there. 300 for every 2. Write an equation that shows the relationship. All right, so here's one thing to know. The ratio, you can think of it as the constant of proportionality, you know, that y over x. And so we want to write an equation that shows the relationship between S amount of sugar and F number of flavor packages. Okay. So I wonder if there's 2 things that we could write, but so it's 300 out of 2 sugar packages, which would reduce to 150 sugar for every 1 package. So if we want to know the amount of sugar in a package, what do we have to multiply the package number by? But each package has 150, so we could think of it like that. S equals 150 times P. Or if we want to know the number of packages, we could take the amount of sugar we have and divide it by 150. So I think there's 2 right answers, but because the first one doesn't have a fraction. I'm going to put it in. I wonder if it would take either one. Or maybe it won't take any of them. Oh, it says F. There we go. Let's look at the, oh, it would have been wrong if I took the other one. All right, there you go. But really, they're both correct. They're just different ways of saying the same thing. The following graph predicts the time it takes to hike different distances. Which statements are true? Okay, so when we're reading a graph, we first want to look at the labels. Okay, these labels tell us our variables. Let's write that down next to the labels. Variable. And this would be our x variable because that's the x-axis. And this is our y variable because this is the y-axis. So y represents distance in kilometers and x represents time in hours. Isn't that great? Whenever you have an algebraic equation, the first thing you want to do is define your variables. If they give you a graph, it's done for you. Okay, so 0, 0 predicts, so it takes 0 hours to hike 0 kilometers? Yes. The 0.37.5 predicts that it takes 7.5 hours. No, 7.5 is kilometers, so no. No, so just A. All right, the following table shows a proportional relationship. Thank you. Write an equation. So let's write this little formula down. Y equals mx. And m is going to represent the constant of proportionality. And then when you get into 8th grade, you're going to do y equals mx plus b. And m will no longer be the constant of proportionality because there's this second number. M will change into something more general called the slope. All right, sometimes the slope is a constant of proportionality, as in this case. We can take any y value and divide it by any x value, and it's proportional. So 2/18 equals 2/18 z, or w. And that would be z. So notice they have, instead of x, y, they have wz. But I bet it, thought it was going to want me to simplify, but all right. Anna does sit-ups to get ready for her first triathlon. When she starts to do a sit-up every 2 seconds, when she starts, she does a sit-up every 2 seconds. Ratio, 1 sit-up for every 2 seconds. But as she gets tired, it takes longer, of course. Is the number of sit-ups proportional? No, because the ratio is changing. So it's not constant, so it's not proportional. How many proportional? Okay, so if it goes through 0, 0, it's a proportional relationship. So the answer is 3. All right, there you go. Quizzes 1 and 2 should be easy for you now. All right, but post in the organizer after you complete them at least 4 times.